theater. Давай, давай.
This is Volume 2 in Bad Movie Fights versus Good Movie Fights. In Volume 1, you learned that a good fight should have stakes, clarity, and editing that best serves the action. Anything with shaky cam is a major no-no. Anything with choppy editing to cover up actors who can't fight is a major no-no. And remember, no guns allowed. So, let's do this. Like the Bourne films, which had to find their rhythm to really figure out what they were doing.
This is Jason Bourne.
A somewhat underrated writer and director.
Where it's Tom and a cameraman, and Tom doing actual dialogue in free fall.
Where's your heart and mind at that point?
It's very much an out-of-body experience. It's life and death stakes, and it's very, very real. You're what we call in present time.
His true genius came to the fore in the early part of his career when he wrote,
Give me the fucking keys, you fucking cocksucker motherfucker.
The Usual Suspects.
How many keys, you cocksucker?
In English, please.
Excuse me.
In English.
How many fucking keys, you cocksucker? What the f?
So we're back to shaky cam and quick editing to cover up actors' lack of fighting abilities. Now, there's no doubting that the original Taken film was a guilty pleasure classic.
I will look for you. I will find you. And I will kill you.
Very basic storyline, very good acting from Neeson, and ultimately some nice set pieces. Taken 2, however, is simply overbearing. Same storyline as 1, with a bigger budget. And this scene is how you should not shoot an action sequence. Now, firstly, the problem comes from the casting itself. At this stage, Liam Neeson was 60 years old. In great shape, but still 60 years old. So this scene is already highly unbelievable. In my bad movie car chases versus good movie car chases, the word I always use is visceral. This fight is reminiscent of the fight from Volume 1 in this series, Colombiana. Choppy editing, lack of geography, shaky cam. And maybe the biggest complaint is the real lack of fighting style. It really does look like two old middle-aged men fighting outside a pub, but less visceral. For visceral filmmaking, when it comes to fighting, there is one scene that sticks out amongst many. This incredible sequence from the film Saving Private Ryan is masterfully directed by a director who's often accused of being too whimsical, Steven Spielberg. It's simply incredible. Without me even giving you context, you can feel how real this scene feels. Now, there are a number of elements at play here. The cinematography by Janusz Kaminski is stunning. You can almost see the grit in the film stock here. The proximity at which Spielberg keeps the camera is fantastic. We are in the scene, not at a distance. And Saving Private Ryan is primarily a drama, so the use of its dramatic actors really helps the scene rather than hinder it, especially as Private Mellish, played by the brilliant Adam Goldberg, pleads for his life.
Listen to me! Listen to me! Stop! Stop! No, 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 no.
But what frames the scene even more is the incredible acting just outside the room by the hugely underrated Jeremy Davies, who cowardly chooses to not interject. And lastly, a huge element of the scene is the lack of music. It just really adds life to the scene. But unlike car chases, not all fight scenes have to be visceral to really land a blow. These amazing fight scenes from Hero aren't visceral at all. In fact, they're rather surreal. In conception, there isn't much difference between these scenes and this. In execution, there is a huge difference. Which is why the art and craft of filmmaking is sometimes so underappreciated. Now, Steven Seagal is an easy target, so we won't linger on him for too long. But he started off his career with rather good fight sequences, including a really good cameo in the movie Executive Decision.
We're not gonna make it!
To simply phone in his performances and fighting like this. Now, if you're going to fight Mike Tyson in a movie, it's got to be like this. This is the fight from the film Ip Man 3. Now, many of you didn't like the scene from Ip Man 1 that was featured in Volume 1 of the series. Many thought it to be too clinical, with too many fighters waiting to take their turn to be hit. It's a common problem in filmmaking when it comes to fight sequences, but one film manages to solve the problem. This 7-minute long action sequence is notable for two things: being a one-take sequence and being, by far, the best thing about the film. Because in actuality, the film is rather dull, and the box office returns suggest that the audience thought so too. But this sequence is masterful. Characters not waiting around to be attacked. Our protagonist is in real danger. She could be hurt, and she has to protect another character who can't fight. It has a lot of the hallmarks from her first film in this video, Mission Impossible Fallout. Now, don't be fooled into thinking this is all just one long continuous take. There are plenty of hidden cuts in the sequence, especially as the camera goes behind a character. However, the scene is still simply brilliant. Charlize Theron, who we've featured before, always commits to her roles, especially when physicality is involved. David Leitch, who co-directed the original John Wick, handles the action sequences brilliantly. But, as often in his work, his storytelling isn't quite as well handled, and the ending of the scene is just uber cool.
Am I your bitch now?
And how fitting that atomic